Hello, this is Scribe9 bringing you another Warcraft 3 audio commentary. This time, I'm going to do it a little bit different. I'm going to throw a curveball here. First of all, are there any Justin Bieber fans in the audience? Because we have a jbieb13 production here in this game. This is going to be an Elf versus Orc game on Turtle Rock. And, rock is the operative word here because this replay is rocking, and this game is pretty funny. It's not going to be that long of a game, to be honest, but pretty good stuff going on in this game. So we're going to watch this game though from the orc perspective, and we're going to try to analyze this from his point of view here. So we can see that he is going for a Blade Master opening. An early Voodoo Lounge, which seems to be all the rage these days with Kodos Forsaken and lots of other orc players just going for this early shop. Blade Master, this is a pretty good map for a Blade Master because you can item creep pretty easily, even getting the Ogre Magi sometimes once you get some items without any sort of units except for the hero. So he's throwing up a War Mill. Typically this is going to mean probably some early towers, and go from there. So we'll keep the Fog of War on, and we'll try to see this game from his perspective. So he's doing a little bit of scouting here with his peon. He's going to see two Ancients of War here. So you know, you might want to suspect, okay, what would the elf be doing with two Ancients of War in his shop? Ancient of Wonders here. He's going to run into this wisp. He's going to get the Gloves of Haste, so he immediately wets his pants a little bit because he got one of the Blade Master preferred items on his first outing there at the Ogre, and so he's going to get harassed by this Shadow Hunter. I mean, not Shadow Hunter. This Warden, and the Warden had Dust of Appearance and some Clarity Potions, so the Orc is probably thinking, okay, what is going on? This Elf knew where to go to find me. How did he possibly do that? I mean, I just killed a Wisp over there, and I'm doing an extremely predictable sort of strategy, creeping pattern, etc. But how in the world did he know what to do with that Warden and where to send her? So he's going to come over here, and he's going to go for these Wisps, and of course he's going to get one since he's got the Gloves of Haste. Just managed to get it before that Wisp cycled in the gold mine. So just obviously he thinks he should win the game already since he got a Gloves of Haste, and he picked a Blade Master, and he got up 2 towers here. It's looking like he's thinking, okay, I've got this game wrapped up in the bag, level 1 Blade Master. You know, I know the enemy is actually making units, and you know, I've seen that they are archers, and his hero is going to be the Warden. But no big deal. I should completely ignore all of that information because I got a Blade Master and one pretty decent item for him. This game should be well in hand. Over in a couple of more minutes is what I'm thinking. I don't know about you guys, but if I was the Orc, clearly that's what would be going on in my head. Gonna go for some Wind Riders once I hit tier 2. Gonna pick up this Circlet and Boots of Speed and Teleport Staff, so I can get back to my the safety of my base, because nothing is better than, you know, spending 150 gold and jumping around the map, healing and creeping with one hero. Clearly I believe that is the most efficient way to do things, and that is gonna be the way I play this game. So I'm gonna go ahead and find another Wisp and actually get the kill before it detonates. So you know, I feel pretty lucky at this point. Again, this isn't actually me playing. I like to point that out. I very rarely would do this sort of proto Blade Master junk in ladder games. I pretty rarely go for the sort of standard stuff. But anyway, So this guy's going to be creeping yet again. He's got salves this time, and he's going to get a ring of protection, which is not that great for the Blade Master, though it is going to be okay. I mean, it's going to keep him. It is his only unit, so at the moment, so you know, keeping him, giving him some damage reduction, not terrible. But again, typically the orcs are going to want to maximize the DPS. And they always hope for items that work in that respect on the Blade Master, since it's so freaking hard to kill him anyway with Windwalk and 5 armor at level 1. Not to mention salves, and you notice these 3 towers up here. But right now the orc is, you know, he's only level 1. He's not even level 2 yet, but he's got that Gloves of Haste, got a couple items. So obviously he thinks the opponent should just surrender immediately, since you know that the orc hero is so imbalanced, so powerful. I mean, just look at that. He can just solo this camp, and no big deal. So clearly that's what he is probably thinking. And you know, I know he saw a bunch of archers, 2 Ancients of War actually, and a hero that actually has a lot of decent abilities to counter air. If he goes for Phantom Knives, but even just Shadow Strike by itself is decent, and archers. So he's pretty much going for a strategy that's from tier 1 on, the very beginning, that is going to be geared to countering air units and to a lesser degree towers. Archers aren't exactly a counter to towers. Let's go ahead and take the Fog of War off for a second and check some stuff out here. The archers don't. They're about to get the long improved bows upgrade, which is going to help out a little bit with the towers to avoid some of these burrows attacks probably. Not to mention having better range to kill the Wind Riders better. But the Warden is level 3, so she is a full level ahead of the, or you know, about 70% of a level ahead of the Blade Master. The elf units have pretty much full health. He's at 44 food, and in the meantime, Yellow is not quite at that big of an army. He's only at 40. He's supply blocked himself for some silly reason, so he's having to wait to produce more of his single unit army, Wind Riders, which is pretty much going to be exactly what Blue's army is designed to counter. And he's going to push here. He's also got a Keeper of the Grove now, which is going to allow him to do a lot of hero focus with Entangle and level 3 Shadow Strike. But again, the orc knows as long as he just sits by this Voodoo Lounge, he can just pretty much ignore all of that nuke and mass units that his Blade Master was tanking there, because you know, 1 healing scroll pretty much, and then a salve, a healing salve, is going to make this, you know, usually easy against players. But he's thinking, what is going on? This guy has an actual army. It's exactly what counters me. He out-leveled me. He's got a healing scroll, a Dust of Appearance. What is going on? This is just a nightmare. This guy, I mean, I know he had wisps all over the map. He scouted all game, you know, I knew he was going archers, but clearly this is just BS. How did he win this game? I mean, you know, I massed 1 single unit, poorly microed my units there, and decided to fight away from the burrows, and just totally got my face rocked off, because I don't even know why. I mean, it's just this is just it's just unheard of. It's just amazing. How did he win the game? I mean, he massed a unit that is a pretty decent counter in a heads-up fight against the units that I was massing, and I didn't even start massing them until tier 2. So, I mean, what is going on here? And he out-crept me and harassed me pretty well throughout the early game, and I didn't really kill anything except for a couple of wisps. But man, that should have been a cakewalk. the opponent should have just surrendered at the 2-minute mark because I picked Orc and I got a Gloves of Haste. I mean, I think that's probably what some of the things that were going through that Orc's head during this game. Along with probably a couple of thoughts about monkeys and shiny items was probably in there randomly. But otherwise, I think we nailed it pretty much dead on with the commentary there of the Orc mindset in that game. So no offense to that particular Orc that we played. It's a pretty common thought process for lots of Orcs I do believe on in this game who do that strategy. But he just happened to be the shining example of Orc proness. So hopefully you found that somewhat entertaining. You saw a strategy that at least against an Orc that skips grunts is going to be fairly effective. Again, if you'd have had 3 or 4 grunts there, I don't know if it would have honestly made a large difference in the game, because level 2 Shadow Strike and Entangle is going to be and mass archers with a heal scroll and healing potions and dust appearance, etc., is going to be pretty strong, even against grunts, because he's not gonna have more than like 4, maybe 5, but most likely only like 3 or 4. He might get a Shadow Hunter to pop out there during the attack, but as long as you do you get the timing done pretty well, it's gonna be really important to do that attack at the right timing, because another few minutes and the Wyverns actually would have slowly overtaken the archers, mainly because once they get a massive Wind Riders, they can sort of pick the archers off pretty quickly, and it's really easy to micro air units. So while I was saying that archers are a pretty decent counter to Wyvern, the mobility and sort of the inability for you to run with archers from Wind Riders and a Blade Master and maybe a Shadow Hunter is going to make it pretty difficult. To actually at a certain point to beat the Wind Riders. And then if he gets Fortified Burrows at any point, Orb of Lightning, it would be hard to do that though, as the Wind Riders are going to be very costly. But if he does do that, it's going to be bad. Plus he was only level 2 on the Blade Master, so if he would have gotten level 3 and beyond, along with, like I say, a Shadow Hunter, it could have made all the difference, because the Warden and a Keeper are, they're pretty vulnerable heroes against the Blade Master. That's, notice that Jake needed lots of healing, not to just get his hero sniped right off the bat, and plus the opponent didn't have a Shadow Hunter for Hex. So that was the other side of that situation. So, but anyway, hopefully you were somewhat entertained by the choice of perspective that I took there, and the way I went about that replay. At any rate, this is Scry Mind signing out.